Chapter 48. 7 Silent Healers. The day will come when, after harnessing space, the winds, the tides, and gravitation, we shall harness for God the energies of love. And on that day, for the second time in history, man will have discovered fire. A quote by Teilhard de Chardin, 1881 to 1955. Whilst the Awasht Conference was taking place, keeping the world shivering, ever more people woke up from the nightmare they were living in. Many, many thousands by now they were. Some said 100,000 even. And amidst them, 7 awakened healers traveled the world. They all had but one intention, only one thing they wanted to achieve. They all wanted the world to take off their glasses and see what really was. 7 of them were born, sent to 7 different places on the living planet Gaia. Born from 7 different wombs, yet equal like brothers they were. For them the link had not been broken. They all remembered who they were, remembered where they came from, as if the fact of being born had not lowered their energies, not to the point of forgetting who they truly were. Marwathi was one of them. He didn't know of the others, and neither did he need to. He worked in silence. Nobody spoke about him. Nobody knew exactly who he was or where he had come from. Still, whilst the world was moving forward, he walked the planet and healed, just as the other 6 did. Marwathi had the power of compassion. His mind was pure. His heart was still, and from within his heart shined a profound compassion for all that lived. A compassion that healed, cared, loved. As he walked into a town, people spontaneously gathered around him. People always gathered around him whenever he arrived at a certain place. To him this was normal. He knew that the energies attracted. Those who came to him were ready. Many of them didn't even know it themselves, didn't even know why they went over to see him as soon as he arrived. Yet they all felt the pull, as a calling, as a warm, tender glow within, as wanting to go and sit by the fire in the evening, unconsciously knowing that is where you want to be. Marwathi sat down as more and more people gathered around. He smiled at them. He knew why they had come. He knew they were ready, ready to be touched. Some of those present, in a low, respectful voice, spoke to each other, tried to explain what they felt inside. Others wondered what was going on, as if they needed to convince themselves, needed someone to set their mind at ease. Most of those who gathered, however, did not utter a word. As they sat down, they felt a deep calm, a profound stillness filling their whole being. They knew it was caused by the presence of this man, and even though they had felt it before, it was so much more intense now. After a few minutes, the stillness had spread, filling all those present. Silence was all that remained now. Without saying a word, Marwathi went over to sit in front of the man who had been sitting closest to him. As he sat down, the man bowed his head, and Marwathi laid his hands on the man's head. The man felt how his body filled, as if it were a cup in which some delicious drink had been poured, a heartwarming drink, and as it filled him, his heart filled with feelings of utter beauty. Long before Marwathi had lowered his hands, the man had started laughing, laughter that sounded from deep within his soul. Marwathi looked at the man, looked him in the eyes, looked through his eyes straight into his soul. His face didn't show any feelings. It just glowed. His whole face glowed as if there was a light source shining from underneath his skin. After a couple of minutes, Marwathi lowered his hands. The man thanked him. Clearly something had changed. A light was shining from within himself now. As he got up, another man came forward to take his place, and once again Marwathi raised his hands. Several hours went by before all those who had gathered had been touched. Some of them had laughed. Others had cried when they had felt the energy sweeping through them. Others had almost fainted. But most people just felt that something essential had changed, as an opening, allowing them to live again, allowing love to flow. By the time Marwathi had touched all those who had come, the place was empty, as most people had left soon after being touched. Marwathi got up, asked someone if there was a place where he could get something to eat and rest for the night, then left. The next day, as the town woke up, people got up and got on with their daily activities. A postman delivered the mail, a farmer was milking his cows, and a school teacher was watching the children as they played in the schoolyard. They all continued their lives, yet nobody had forgotten. They all felt how they had been touched. That is how it always went. But this time, something else had happened too. This time, the energies that had risen within those present had further spread during the night to cover the whole town. Marwathi knew this from the past. He knew that sometimes, whenever enough people were ready, the energies would keep on spreading to touch the whole community, rising the vibration of all those who live there. Without really knowing why, the next morning, some of the people wanted to take a day off, to go for a walk in nature. Others felt a deep sadness, as if an open wound had come to life again. Yet they understood this to be part of a healing process. Others still felt a deep love and felt the need to share this love. They felt like hugging all those around, as if to pass on the energies. At first they were 7 just like Marwathi, 7 to walk the world, 7 to touch thousands, 7 to touch millions. But how many were they now? How many of those touched had become healers themselves? How many now walked the world, working in silence? Could it be that one day there would be enough of them? Enough silent healers to wake up, not just a village or a town, but actually wake up the world? Shaoni thought about it. Then he recalled something he had once read in a book that stood beside his mom's bed. It read, "The day will come when, after harnessing space, the winds, the tides, and gravitation, we shall harness for God the energies of love. And on that day, for the second time in history, man will have discovered fire." Shaoni wondered, could it be?